There's a quiet sadness in the way our world has reversed itself. People were made to be loved. Things were made to be used. And yet, every day, it feels as if we love things and use people. The glow of a screen replaces the warmth of a human face. We scroll through lives we'll never touch, chase numbers that never hold us, and measure worth in what we own instead of what we give. We build faster, buy newer, and yet, somehow, feel emptier. Imagine a world where your heart is treated like a tool, and your phone like a companion, where the sound of a message means more than the sound of a friend's voice, where we trade our humanity for convenience and call it progress. Dalai Lama once said, "People were created to be loved, and things were created to be used." The reason the world is in chaos is because things are being loved and people are being used. His words cut through time like a mirror, reflecting the ache of a society that has forgotten how to feel. So we must ask, when did love become something we spend and not something we live? Walk down any city street today and you'll see it, the quiet tension between abundance and emptiness. People rush past each other, headphones in, eyes down, their hands gripping devices that connect them to everyone, yet no one at all. In cafes, laughter flickers briefly between screens. In homes, families sit together, but their hearts are scattered across digital landscapes. We live surrounded by comfort, yet ache for connection. We have more communication tools than any generation before us, and yet the language of empathy is slowly disappearing. We can order food, friendship, even affection, all with a tap. But can we order meaning? The paradox is subtle, like a beautiful lie. We have mistaken attention for love, validation for belonging, and possession for peace. We say we are busy, as if it were proof of purpose, when often it's just a way to avoid the silence that might reveal how lost we've become. Our world teaches us to use people as ladders, stepping stones toward comfort, status, or success. And when they break beneath our weight, we blame them for not being strong enough, forgetting that love was never meant to be climbed, only shared. We celebrate wealth and innovation, but rarely pause to ask, what are we becoming in the process? Our devices get smarter, our homes get bigger, and our hearts quieter. Late at night, when the lights fade and the noise softens, a strange emptiness hums beneath it all. It's the sound of disconnection, the quiet ache of having everything except what we truly need. We can love a brand more than a human being. We can feel jealousy toward pixels on a screen. We can crave affirmation from strangers more than compassion from ourselves. And so, we live in a reversed equation. We love what is lifeless and use what is alive. Yet somewhere, deep beneath this confusion, a truth whispers that love was never meant to be efficient, productive, or profitable. It was meant to be wasteful in the most beautiful way, time given freely without expectation. This is the modern paradox. We crave love but fear vulnerability. We seek belonging but avoid intimacy. We worship technology for its speed, and yet it is slowing the pulse of our humanity. And perhaps, just perhaps, this imbalance is the greatest spiritual crisis of our time. Because when we forget how to love people and only know how to use them, we don't just lose others, we lose ourselves. But what if the cure isn't found in changing the world, but in remembering how to see it again? To understand the chaos of our modern age, we must return to the simplest truth. Human beings were not designed to compete with machines. We were designed to connect with one another. Somewhere along the path of progress, we confused advancement with awakening. We believed that faster meant better, and that having more meant we were finally enough. But the soul does not evolve at the speed of technology. It moves slowly, like water finding its way back to the sea. The Dalai Lama's insight is not merely social commentary. It is a mirror to the human spirit. When he says, people were made to be loved and things to be used, he is pointing to the natural order of existence, a harmony between what feels and what serves. When that order is reversed, suffering begins. Because love cannot be reduced to utility, and life cannot be measured in what it produces. Love is not an investment that guarantees returns. It is an act of faith, something we offer, knowing it might never be returned in equal measure. And yet, it is this irrational, unprofitable generosity that gives meaning to our days. But in a society built on metrics, numbers, and output, love becomes inconvenient. It slows us down. It cannot be tracked, optimized, or monetized. And so we hide it behind irony and distraction. We swipe instead of speak. We react instead of listen. We scroll instead of feel. The tragedy of our time is not that we are unloved, but that we have forgotten how to receive love without condition. We mistake control for security, distance for independence, and performance for authenticity. We build walls and call them boundaries, when sometimes they are just fear disguised as wisdom. To use people is to deny their sacredness. It is to reduce a universe of feelings, dreams, and histories into an instrument for our temporary comfort. It is the ultimate act of forgetting that every person carries their own storms, their own quiet prayers, their own longing to be seen. And yet we do it, not because we are cruel, but because we are afraid. Afraid that if we love too deeply, we'll be hurt. Afraid that if we give too freely, we'll be left empty. But love, true love, is not the absence of pain. It's the courage to let pain soften us instead of harden us. When we love things more than people, our world becomes mechanical. Our hearts imitate the rhythm of machines, efficient, functional, unfeeling. We stop noticing sunsets, slow meals, and unplanned laughter. We stop being and start managing. But the universe has its way of restoring balance. When we forget how to love, life introduces loss. When we forget how to listen, silence finds us. When we forget how to feel, time slows us down through illness, heartbreak, or solitude, not as punishment, but as invitation. We cannot heal the world's chaos by owning more or running faster. We heal it by remembering what it means to see again. The humanity in each face, the tenderness in each exchange. Because the true wealth of life is not found in possession, but in presence. A simple conversation, held without distraction. A touch that says, "I'm here." A pause that allows another's pain to be felt. These are the currencies that never lose value. To love people and use things, this is not merely advice. It is a spiritual orientation. It means to let objects serve their purpose and to let hearts live theirs. It means to rediscover gratitude for what we already have, not as property, but as connection. It means to slow down enough to remember that behind every transaction, every message, every passing face, there is a soul, just like yours, wanting to be understood. We are not here to accumulate, but to awaken, to build a world where kindness is not weakness, where simplicity is not failure, and where silence is not emptiness, but peace. Because the more we use things for what they are meant for, the more space love has to breathe. And the more we love people for who they truly are, the less we need from the world to feel whole. So the path forward is not revolution, it is remembrance. A return to the original design. Love at the center, things at the periphery. And perhaps that is what the Dalai Lama truly meant, that the end of suffering begins not with changing others, but with reversing the equation within ourselves. You are not broken because you feel too much. You are only out of tune with a world that forgot how to listen. Close your eyes. Imagine holding nothing and yet feeling complete. Imagine seeing someone, not for their usefulness, but for their being. In that simple act of loving without needing, of seeing without wanting, you return to your original nature. And in that moment, the reversal ends. The world turns right side up again. Love people, use things. Never confuse the two. Once, in a small mountain village, there lived an old craftsman named Leon. He was known for creating beautiful lanterns, each one glowing like a captured piece of the moon. People from distant towns would travel for days to buy his work. But Leon never rushed. He would sit in silence for hours, carving patterns so delicate they looked as if they were breathed, not built. One day, a wealthy merchant from the city visited the village. He saw the lanterns flickering in Leon's workshop and was astonished. "How much for all of them?" he asked. Leon smiled gently. "They're not for sale yet. Each one is still learning how to hold the light." The merchant laughed. "Lanterns don't learn. They're things. You make them. You sell them." But Leon only said, "Some things are built with the hands, others are built with the heart. Both need time." Frustrated, the merchant left, but weeks later he returned, offering twice the price. This time, Leon agreed. He sold him 12 lanterns and watched as the merchant loaded them onto his cart, already imagining the profit he would make in the city. When night fell, Leon noticed the road glowing faintly in the distance. The merchant had lit the lanterns for his journey home, but soon, one by one, they began to dim. Their light flickered weakly, then disappeared entirely. The next morning, the merchant stormed back. "They've all gone dark. You tricked me." Leon said nothing. He simply walked to a corner of his workshop and lifted a lantern that had been burning all night. Steady, warm, alive. He placed it between them. "This one," he said softly, "was made for light. The others were made for money." The merchant frowned. "They're the same materials." Leon nodded. "Yes." But the hands that built this one loved it. And love changes the way something holds its purpose. The merchant didn't understand, but something in Leon's tone unsettled him. He looked around the workshop, at the unfinished lanterns, the tools worn smooth by years of care, and the single candle burning near the window. For the first time, he noticed the stillness, not empty, but full. He asked quietly, "Why spend so much time on things that won't last?" Leon smiled. "Because when I pour love into my work, It lasts where it matters, not in the lantern, but in me. The merchant left with only one lantern, the one that still glowed. He carried it through the city, and though years passed, he never sold it. When people asked why, he simply said, "Because this light reminds me how to see." And perhaps that's the truth we've all forgotten. When we love something or someone only for its use, it burns out. But when we love it for what it is, without demand or profit, it glows longer than we ever imagined. Objects can hold function, but only hearts can hold meaning. Leanne knew this. The merchant learned it too. And maybe, in our own way, we are all lantern makers, each of us trying to remember how to build light that lasts. The story of Leanne isn't about craftsmanship. It's about presence. It reminds us that love gives life, not just to people, but to everything we touch. When we live with attention, even the smallest act becomes sacred. A meal shared slowly, a word spoken kindly, a moment noticed fully. The world changes not when we invent more, but when we remember why we create at all. Because love, real love, doesn't need to shine brighter. It only needs to shine true. And in that quiet glow, the world begins to heal. There comes a moment in every life when the noise quiets, not because the world has stopped shouting, but because your heart has finally stopped listening. And in that stillness, you realize how far you've drifted. You see how easily you've mistaken love for transaction. How often you've measured your worth by what you've accomplished or how much you've given, rather than how deeply you've been. It's a sobering realization that somewhere between ambition and survival, you began to use yourself too. You used your kindness to earn approval. You used your presence to fill someone else's emptiness. You used your time like currency, trading pieces of your soul for scraps of validation. And now, you're tired. Not the kind of tired that sleep can cure, but the kind that whispers in your chest, "I miss who I used to be." But here's the miracle. That voice inside you, the one that aches, it's not weakness. It's your humanity fighting to be remembered. It's the reminder that no matter how many times the world teaches you to love things and use people, your soul still knows the difference. When you finally stop running, when you stop performing, something soft begins to return. A quiet tenderness, a remembering. You begin to notice the small things again. The way sunlight touches a cup of tea. The sound of your own breathing after a long day. The peace that comes from saying, "I don't need more." Love, real love, has nothing to do with possession. It's not about keeping. It's about seeing. Seeing others, seeing the world, seeing yourself, without trying to reshape it into what you want. The Dalai Lama's words echo once more. People were made to be loved. Things were made to be used. But perhaps the true reversal begins when we finally stop using ourselves, when we stop trying to become valuable and start realizing that we already are. Every time you choose empathy over judgment, presence over distraction, kindness over efficiency, you realign the world a little closer to its original truth. You bring light back into the equation. The modern heart is tired because it's been taught to run on achievement instead of affection. But love does not rush. It waits. It listens. It forgives. And in the silence of that waiting, you begin to rediscover the most essential part of being human: the ability to love without agenda. To sit with pain and not fix it. To witness beauty and not own it. To touch life gently and say, "This is enough." Maybe that is how healing begins, not in some grand awakening, but in one simple choice: to love people again, to let things be tools, not treasures, and to trust that what makes you human has never been lost, only buried beneath the noise. Because the heart doesn't forget. It only waits for us to return. The world will keep moving, faster, louder, brighter. It will keep telling you that meaning lives in what you can buy, build, or become. But every once in a while, something inside you will whisper, "Stop." In that pause, you might remember that love is not a resource to be managed, but a rhythm to be lived. That things exist to serve, and people exist to feel. And that the smallest act of presence, a moment of listening, a single breath of gratitude, can restore what an entire lifetime of striving has taken away. So tonight, before the noise returns, take a moment. Look around the room. Every object you own, every device, every light, they were all made to serve you. But the faces, the voices, the hearts you love, they are not yours to own. They are yours to honor. We cannot change the world overnight. But we can begin with one simple reversal: to love more and to use less. To remember that the truest progress is not in what we create, but in how we care. Because when we love people and use things, peace returns, quietly, like dawn over a restless sea. And in that light, the world feels whole again.